Before we started the show, we're having a bit of an interesting conversation. And we're talking about, Mike, you said something interesting where you were like, I got to the point where I'm no longer the evangelist. Like I'm not going to do it anymore. And, people know that I'm into Bitcoin. If they want to know about it, they can just come to me and then I'll happily fill them in. But I have not heard that to the extent that I have this cycle ever before. And a lot of Bitcoiners have just said, I'm no longer going to pester people about this. I'm no longer going to be that person in the room where they're like, oh God, he's going to talk about Bitcoin again. When people are ready, they're ready and they're going to come to me because they already know. And I think that's going to be a very positive thing because people are very averse to free shit for some reason. Your guard goes up. Somebody is like, you see somebody on the street and they're like, here, take this free thing. You're like, what's the catch? Get away from me. I don't want it. Bitcoin has no marketing team, but in a way, we are all Bitcoin's marketing team. And we very much learned that our marketing tactics were shit. And so forcing information on people that they haven't asked for is a hard sell. And you kind of had to do that in the early days because nobody knew about it. Literally nobody. And now it's not at that point. Now it's very much like people see it all the time. It's kind of eking into people's daily lives. There's never been more examples of why you need Bitcoin than today in various different ways, like depending on who you are and where you are in the world, that answer could be very different. But education has changed. It's no longer like somebody forcing education upon you. It's people seeing this thing, having multiple touch points, and then going, I need to find information. And before finding Bitcoin information was difficult. There wasn't a lot of content. Like I'm talking when I started, there was nothing like in terms of the whole impetus for the channel was step-by-step education in video form because there was none. But even like just learning the why of Bitcoin was pretty hard back then. You'd be hard pressed to find a podcast or two that happened every week or month. Now it's like you couldn't even possibly consume the hundreds of hours of content that gets released every day. And on top of that, you've got these entities that are now starting to finally curate educational content. The people that come in for this bull run in this cycle are better poised to understand Bitcoin at a faster pace than anyone before them that has come. And each epoch of Bitcoin allows the newcomers to stand on the shoulders of those from the epoch before and elevate them to new levels at a faster pace. And I always say this, when I do one-on-ones with people, the level of knowledge that people will exude a year into being in Bitcoin, I'm like, oh my God, 4 years in, I wasn't at that place. And it's because the wealth of knowledge and the curation that has happened over the years that allows that to happen. And so I get excited when I see people come in, learn something from me, move on, and then all of a sudden they're like building apps. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. That's the coolest thing. So I think that this cycle is going to introduce a whole new class of Bitcoiners with a whole new level of skills at a pace that we have not seen prior, and it'll continue to accelerate. Today's Bullish Bit was brought to you by Bitcoin Well. I love how they make buying Bitcoin simple while keeping self-custody a priority. You can sign up today by scanning the QR code on the screen or clicking the link in the show notes.